Okay, so we're working on summer sausage and snack sticks here. What we've got here is starting with our two-piece clods. There's a variety of different cuts that you can use. Chuck, two-piece clods, goosenecks. We used a lot of those making snack sticks back in the day. Same thing for summer sausage. These will probably be a little bit leaner than I would like. I'd like a little bit more fat in there, probably about 75% lean, just to get a good mouthfeel, not too fat. You can also cheapen up your meat batch by using 50-50 trim if you've got a leaner cuts that you want. Depending on what kind of volume that you're working with, you can get 50-50 trim and mix that in with higher quality cuts like the two-piece clods if they're running leaner. But you can make summer sausage out of a lot of different cuts and use your purchase power to make the best quality product that you can. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm just going to be chunking it up here and using it for getting our weights here. We're going to do a 25-pound batch of summer sausage, which we can also use that same spice blend for snack sticks and just make some minor changes in it later on like we're going to show you. Be sure you just have it small enough so you get to go through the grinder without having too many problems. Now I'm not taking out any tendons or anything on this because it's fairly clean. We're going to be grinding it. You could take some of this off for like a show class and so forth, but regular production, there's no need to really take it off. It's just more waste. So we want to utilize everything that we possibly can to make the product. So we'll batch up the rest of this for the second batch. And then what we'll do is after I get done doing this, we'll go to the grinder, go through a coarse grind at that point, and then we're going to do our mixing and then move into our final grind and stuffing. What we're doing is breaking down the particle size here so we can mix easy. I'm doing a fairly coarse grind here, so I've got good particle definition. Summer sausage and snack sticks, you don't want emulsified or cut super fine. It really changes the mouthfeel and the texture of the product, and actually the flavor also. You can have a summer sausage seasoning and still have it taste like a hot dog if it's too finely ground. So the other thing when you're putting together your grinder, be sure your collar is tight. Otherwise, you're just gonna be mashing the product through. You got to have your knives clean and sharp along with your plate. Threw this in the freezer, it was getting a little warm for doing a second grind. So again, we want to keep it cold so we get that nice particle definition. And on this batch, the two houses that you can work from are do all your grind first, then do a mix, or do a coarse mix, which we already did with the summer sausage, and then do a final grind after that. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. It depends on your equipment. There's grinders and stuffers out there that have grinder heads on them. That's what we used at the end of where I was at, was using a grinder head on a stuffer and doing a final grind there and doing everything coarse. But you can change the product. You can do a lot of great things with different equipment. So it all depends on what you have and what's available to you. So we're gonna go ahead and run this through a 3/16 plate, and then we'll do our mixing in the mixer here after that. And you can see the particle definition here on that final grind, a little bit easier than if it was pre-mixed. All right, so we're gonna put that into our mixer. Got our seasoning, and this is the PS Seasoning Willy Snack Sticks. Got our Speed Cure. And then our dextrose. So again, we're gonna just mix that up. I'm gonna add some more water here to incorporate the seasonings. Okay, now we're gonna add the starter cultures here after most of those seasonings are mixed in so we don't shock the culture with the salt or the slight seasoning. Now you see the texture here, we got some vine going on, we got some tackiness going on. That's right where you want to be. Not too tacky that it's caking up on the side here, but just enough to have some bind.
I said when you're using a piston stuffer, it's very important to try to remove all the air pockets you can with it. So you won't have air pockets in your product. Of course, when you're using a vacuum stuffer, that's not an issue, but I think we all know that. And especially the first bunch you put, I like to kind of ball it up and throw it in there to pop your air pockets out. But I think we'll be in good shape here.
So here we've got some Proline tubed lamb casings for our snack sticks. Very simple to use these. A lot easier than hand running them on. Now with this being a non-vacuum sausage stuffer, we're getting a little bit of air pockets in there and so forth. But you want to keep that casing as tight as you can to force that air back towards the end of the casing and reduce as many pockets as you can in the casing itself. And then what we're going to do is we're not going to twist these. We're just going to string them straight like this. We've got some air pockets in here, so we're going to have some joints and so forth. If you tap on the back here, you make a little hole here, but it'll let some of the air out of that casing. Now we're getting it down. You can leave them looped like this, or you can cut them. If you cut them, you get less cobra heads on them. Stick will hang straighter. Again, you want these casings soaked, ideally overnight, and then freshen up the water before you start. Using a hot bath water temperature, it just makes the casings more pliable, easier to use. Natural casing like this can hang overnight and get pushed in the smokehouse in the morning. The collagen picks up too much moisture from the product, and you'll have half of it on the floor in the morning. So if you're using collagen casings, you definitely want to get them in the smokehouse that night and don't let them hang overnight. So things that you got to think about if you're putting a jalapeno or something like that, if you have dried product, that incorporates easier. Like a dehydrated pineapple or a dehydrated jalapeno, you got to think about how that muscle matrix is gonna be affected by the product that you put in. You put in something that's pickled, you've got a lot of acid in there, and you're denaturing proteins right away. So you're putting that acid in before the fermentation process has happened, and before that product actually is able to set up and hold together. You'll get a mealy flavor or mealy texture.
And could break casings as well. Drop your casings.
Yeah, it'll definitely drop your collagen casings. The naturals it won't have much of an effect on, but on a collagen casing or other types of casings, it'll definitely have an effect. But the main thing is that mouthfeel, you will get a mealy flavor and crumbly texture in the final product. Okay, so here's the program that we used on the snack sticks and all the product that's on the smokehouse. Now, we lucked out on our large diameter slicing salami. That hit 128 degrees for a lethality over an hour. So it was at least 28 degrees and it went up to 130 some degrees, but that was for an hour period. So that hit lethality, which satisfies USDA on a large diameter fermented product like that. You got to use the right, I believe that's a Tompkins study, so you can definitely use that for your summer sausages. If you have a full load of one product in there, you can typically use that. You typically see that done on a summer sausage or a fermented product like that at 128 degrees for that. But going back to the program here, we've got the start delay in there. These times are in seconds. So we had it set at 120 degrees. We want to be sure our high temps didn't get above for 115 for our fermentation. So you can see we've got large time amounts here set at a low temp, so that internal temperature didn't increase past the culture's ability to grow and survive. So we want that product to grow and survive. We've got really good tang on the product, so we're going to be hitting in the probably 4.5s, 4.2s on that fermented product, especially the larger diameter one. The fermentation went longer on that than the snack sticks. We go into a cooking at 105, keeping that temperature low, and then we go into a drying here. You'll see this ramp up. We got it set at 100, the house temp set at 140, and that was to dry down that product so we could apply smoke to it. So while you're fermenting, there's a lot of humidity in that house. If we would have opened it at that point, the product would feel wet, like when we put it in. So it would just be warmer. So we want to get to the point where we need to dry that product out so we can apply the smoke, and that's what this cycle is doing right here, this drying cycle. It's not a real long cycle. I think we had it for 15 minutes. We had the fan speed turned up a little bit, and then the house temp was set at 140. Internal temp was set at like 130. We never came close to that during that period because it was only 15 minutes, but it was just enough to set that outside to get it tacky, where the smoke molecules would actually adhere to the outside of that product. Now you'll have a little bit of variation on the products that we can look at after we bloom on how much smoke got applied. The beef bung end caps didn't have a great color. It's a different type of, we would have needed to dry that out a little bit more probably to get that to get the same type of color that we have on the other products. But that being said, then we applied smoke for, I believe it was 2 hours. And again, right around that same temp, and we've got the internal temp set up so it was probably still wasn't at that. And we can look at our food safety records after that to see where our actual internal temps ended up at. And then after that, like I was talking, when we pulled the product out, we have another drying cycle, and that's to set that color on the product so it doesn't get washed off while we're showering and so forth. So if you don't have that dry step in after smoking, you're going to get streaking on the product, you're going to get discoloration on the outside, and it's going to look terrible. So you want to get that dry and locked in with a dry high temp and then low humidity. So we dropped our humidities down to 50 when all the other ones, when we're fermenting, were 85. And we had it 0 at the drying beforehand to get that dried out enough so we could apply that smoke. And then we're locking it in with that low humidity after that. And then we finished off cooking the product with these other cooking steps and then shower at the end.
When you're developing products, we strongly recommend doing your product review after complete stabilization. As you can see in the sticks, we had a good form definition and spice mix. It's critical we get a good mix as your customer expects a high-quality product and consistent experience. While the sticks were slightly on the lean side, we still had a good, even mix of fat particles. Our outside color was right where we wanted it. For more information, visit our websites.